So here we are in the first part of our contrast lesson where we're focusing on low contrast, meaning if you look at all of the range of grays between white and black, try to find some values that are closer together in the range of gray. And so I'm choosing a really light, low contrast color palette with warm tones. I'm using my watercolor set, and I am not referring to a sketch, but that's just because I've used magnolias in my work for many, many years, and I feel confident just allowing for the marks to appear on the paper. I highly recommend that you do make sketches or some guides on your paper before starting with the paint if you feel you need that structure and setup. So thinking about low contrast, thinking about subtlety, this really allows the viewer to move in closer to the piece. So think about a high contrast. You have like black and white. The images are going to pop. It's going to be easy to read from a distance. Whereas something more subtle and lower contrast is going to invite the viewer in to find more as they come close, right? And allow for the secrets and the mysteries, the gems to unearth, to unfold as you spend more time with the piece. So I'm going to make a little drip here. So feel free to experiment with your materials in different ways. And now I'm adding a little bit thicker areas of value in the petals of the magnolia to break up the lines, add interest, and create a little bit of dimension. My intention with my personal art is no longer to have things look really realistic. I more am interested in coming into conversation with the divine, with creativity and expression, and allow the materials and the time and the intention to guide me. So if you would like to look at source imagery for your work or trace some objects to help you if you are not strong in drawing, all good. So now that is dry and I'm ready to add another layer of paint. So I'm just adding some water here with a big filbert brush up on the top. And then I'm going to be using some green gold liquid acrylic, this high flow acrylic, which is a more pricey type of paint. So I only have a couple tubes of it. And then here it is. It's a really nice complement for the golden orange that I was using before. It just brings out some green and then it actually dries a lot more golden than it looks when it's wet. And so with this piece, I'm allowing for a more minimalist approach and finding some subtlety, taking my time, taking some breaths, and allowing these lighter values to create harmony and balance. So moving around the space with one color at a time. And of course, if you're using acrylics, maybe you're blending colors, maybe you have a painterly or expressive mark making, maybe you're a maximalist and you can find subtlety in just the colors you're using and just subtle variations with maximalist mark making. So however you approach this, just honor that in yourself and honor the symbol that you are portraying. Does the meaning of the symbol come across in the way that you are making the work? So more subtle variation here with some orangish yellow. And I use a variety of brushes in this lesson. Now I'm bringing in that cone, that centerpiece, giving a little bit of texture and detail there. And slowly and calmly moving through, seeing if there needs to be anything else before I move on. So now everything is dry again, and I have some acrylic paint out. So the color that I'm using is called Parchment Green, and it's a really, really pale green, sort of sage, kind of looks gray. This adds just a very subtle variety of color once more. So now I'm deciding to use some gold, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use the Posca paint pen or the Uniball gel pen, and I've decided to use the Posca paint pen. Just testing it out on my gray paper palette and determining what I'd like to add here and there, just as the little specks of icing on top for the viewer to find as they come close to the piece. And of course, if you are in the physical presence of metallics, when you move around a piece of art, it will shimmer and shine and add some beautiful movement into the artwork. And so the magnolia for me really is about savoring this beautiful incarnation on earth. And so I decided to actually write the word savor in the piece. So if you ever want to add text or numerology into your works, it can add a little bit of extra and allow the viewer to know what you mean with the imagery that you're creating. So enjoy this low contrast exercise with a symbol.